This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free.
It's Back with Nahaja Black is sponsored by Scotiabank, Baja Retreat Johnson, Bahamas Society of Human Resources, and Central Bank.
Be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and what you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward, never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome to the Hit Back. I'm your host, Nahaja Black. It is a beautiful day here in the 242. I hope that you are doing well, taking care of yourself, and living your best life. Today, I got a special guest. I got a good show for you today, I must say. Very impressed with the lineup that I have, minus my good friend, C.A. Nuri. He's okay. But we got a good show for you lined up today. We lead the show off, of course, with the first time this guest has been on my show, and she is the first time minister. Maybe they'll win a second term and she'll do it twice. Who knows? You never know how these things go. But she is the Minister of Transport and Housing, the Honorable Minister JoBeth Davis, Colby Davis, joining us. Minister, how are you?
I'm good. Hello, Nahaja, and the Hit Back.
Listen, I'm happy that you're here with us on the show. Thank you so much. I know it was short notice, and I appreciate the yes and for the time, so I won't take up too much of it. But first, before we get started on the conversation that has been on the headlines, I have to ask you, how is it now in office? You are a new minister, your first time in office. You have a great cabinet post. How has it been so far?
It's really been a lot of work. I'm going to be honest. It's a lot of work in terms of the personnel part of it, connecting with the people who've been in the service for so many years and learning from them, actually. And so as I'm going around and doing my tours and rotations, I'm reminding them that I'm here as a manager on behalf of the Davis administration policies and priorities, but I'm not here to lord over them, because I expect them to help and assist me to put out whatever it is that this government intends to do within the time we've been given. So, connecting with them and making sure I take off my private sector hat and learn the public sector way, which is quite hard.
And I figured, give us an insider's look into that. I think that's something that we take for granted.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of, I would call it, coming from the private sector, I call it bureaucracy. But it's just a lot of procedural things that has to be done before you get to the point where something is actually approved, accepted, stamped, and ready for takeoff. So it's like 20 steps before you get to where I'm used to working closely with my boss, who was the CEO, and I say, look, we got to get this done and sign off, get it done. Or I send an email, this needs to be done, okay, explain it, and you get it done. But here it's kind of like 10 to 20 steps before you can get that, okay, explain it before I say it's done. It's very different for me.
Yeah, and I know, because of course, like you said, in your field, and I think many of us who are in the private sector understand execution, that time is money, right? You see a problem and your initiative is to solve the problem, right? It isn't to belabor what the problem is. How do we solve it? And I think that all governments, when they go in with a form of naivete if you're first time within the civil service.
Right.
And all are shocked by the system. I call government the system that is molasses driven, right? Like it's like walking in a bed of molasses, a sea of molasses.
Yeah.
There is movement, but buddy, it's slow moving. And I know it's early in the process, but I would hope that all those who have gone before you, administration who's governed before in the system, that they've given you some good wisdom?
Oh yes, most definitely. And I think the time we've had in opposition and the way in which it was structured by our current prime minister and the deputy prime minister, and how they assigned us to work on things together with the experience and then the new, it kind of helped us get to that place where we have this relationship and feel as if we can talk directly to them. So you have someone like Minister Glenys Hannah Martin. For the female, she's someone that we can constantly pitch ideas off of in terms of things related to women, because she's already been here. Of course, she's served in transport before. And so speaking to her in some capacity to help in some decision making for me has been good. And then my Senate colleagues are like my big brothers. So Minister Mitchell and Minister Darville and Minister Sweden, I always have them to lean on. And then the new ones, we've been talking amongst ourselves like, hey, are you having problems with this? I would talk to Minister Pia Glover and talk to Minister Boleg and some of the policies. So because we had to work so closely together building the blueprint, it's almost as if we already have some sort of bond to kind of not feel embarrassed to say, well, look, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me figure out how you got through this process? So it's been a good working relationship. I hope it stays like that.
I hope so too.
People get tense. People start turning off their phone and getting a little stressful. But for now, I'll say the growing pains has been a little bit easier because everyone's kind of pitching in and helping one another.
Yeah, so, yeah. And there's something interesting you said. If you're just tuning in, Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis, Minister of Transport and Housing, and of course the Member of Parliament for Elizabeth, you said something interesting, that you guys worked together to create the blueprint. Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we were assigned our roles on the blueprint, and then it constantly changed as you had candidates being rolled out. But because I was a senator, I would have been in the beginning stages of it, and we were assigned various ministries. So how the cabinet is presently structured, that's kind of how our blueprint committees were structured. So we had a natural resources committee, we had an education and technology, we had a digitization committee, you know what I mean? So we had committees structured already to kind of help us design what we were researching then, because that would have been 3.5 years ago of research, and then pulling it together and sending comments. And the deputy prime minister was in charge of that entire program. So, yeah.
I gather, Minister Colby-Davis, and again, we are definitely getting into Prospect Ridge conversation, right?
Oh,
but I gather, when this administration, before it was government, when you were looking to get into this and you knowing what was before you, knowing what all was the uphill battle, we looked at the voting at the end of the day, there's voter apathy. There is a little bit of this, not a little bit, I think a lot of voters saying, man, it is the same as before. All we're doing is trading in one with the other, the lesser of the two evils. That is the sense, that we're seeing in community. This is your first time in office, but you've, as someone who's a young professional as well, a young Bahamian, what do you say to the Bahamian populace that actually makes us believe that it is a new day? What would you say to us?
I would say we need more time, because we have a lot of policy and initiative that we've put into the blueprint. And I can assure you that everyone who's been assigned in various ministries, we're working from the blueprint. That is our guide. That is our structure. We've already had about 3 different parliamentary caucus meetings where we sat amongst ourselves and were being directed from what is expected from the blueprint. And so we have the delivery unit that's set up in the Office of the Prime Minister, who will also be working from the blueprint. And we want to roll out what we can in the time that we've given from the blueprint, which should have shown you that a lot of the plans would be new and would be challenging. Most of it would be bold, what we want to do to small to medium businesses, the amount of money that we want to invest in them. Obviously, we have to have the funding to invest that. So there's a lot of work that's going to be coming from that end. The ease of doing business, changing the way we do it, how we process applications, making things more digital and connecting all of the ministries as opposed to having one system set up here, how we do it, a business license is separate for how we do it for the passport office, connecting, make sure they're interlinked, and so that we can have a more faster response. No one has to go and call up the passport. Wait a minute, does this person have this? It could be interlinked through the digital system. And so it's a lot of early days work going on right now. Like when I spoke to the media, it's so much reviews that you have to do, because before I want to make a final decision of changing the way we do road traffic and some of the automation that's required in the family islands, I have to be sure I know why is it that it hasn't been done yet. So getting information is important to me before I start saying, we'll do this, we'll do that. But I don't think you would have that slow pace of rolling out so much changes. As you've seen, Minister for Grand Bahama has been doing quite a number of things, changing policies, putting in initiatives that are starting to help people and put that disposable income back in homes by allowing that duty-free to continue for the vehicles. It's important for us to roll out things early, because we saw what happened in the last administration. When you waste time talking about what this one didn't do, what that one didn't do, you lose your time that you're given to actually do something. And so wasting time is something that we constantly say we cannot do. We have to get to work. So if we review and then we come to Parliament, we say, look, this is what the status is, then that's the status, and we got to get on and fix it. That's what the public is frustrated about. They're tired of us kicking the ball down the road, playing ping pong with one another. They're sick of hearing the F&M did this or the PLP did that. What they want to know is, you found out there was a problem, and now what is the solution, and when will you start to enact that solution? And I think that's where you'd see the New Day initiatives coming in, because we have to move on fixing things instead of continually talking about why it's not fixed.
Yep, and that was one hell of an answer. Thank you, Minister JoBeth Colby Davis, because I think I do believe you're right. We are tired of the can being kicked down the road. We're tired of they didn't do this, they didn't do that. We want solutions, man.
Well, you'll hear some of that in the first early days of the House, because we still got to put things on the table.
You got to blast folks in.
Yeah, we got to let people know what happened. So don't think you ain't gonna hear. You may get tired of hearing it, but you're gonna hear. And then as we go on, we got to get to work. And so if I still talking that, then you have to tell me now, Minister Colby Davis, JoBeth, whatever you want to call me, you need to get on with the work.
Yeah. And folks are saying, well said. I love your passion. Etc. So let's do this. We got to go soon to break, but I want to ask you this question. Actually, no, let's go to break, because when we come back, I want to get straight into your press conference on Wednesday. You dropped a ball, and there was a response, and I want all of that from the Honorable Minister JoBeth Colby Davis. So we'll be right back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We will be back after this. Minister of Transport and Housing, the Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis. We'll be back after.
What happened to you? You look like you lost your paycheck.
Man, I just realized I got scammed out of a bunch of money. They said I won this contest and just needed me to send them some money so I could collect. I mean, to expedite something. Or was it to smooth the process?
Man, you're smarter than that. Protect yourself against scams and fraud by following these steps. If you know you didn't enter a competition, you can't win. Never pay to receive a cash prize. If you're being asked, you're being scammed. Check trusted internet sites for verification of information given to you. Do not give your banking details to people you don't know. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Monitor your bank account regularly for any questionable transactions. Get more information at getmoneysmartbahamas.com.
Calling all HR professionals. It's Human Resources Professionals Week. Join us for the 41st Annual BSHRM Conference and Expo, Friday, October 29th, 2021. Hear from our 18 industry-leading speakers, enjoy lunch powered by Craven, visit exhibitors in our virtual expo, and so much more. To learn more, email us at conferencebsherm@gmail.com. We'll see you at BSHRM Conference 2021. Have you heard about the COVID vaccine raffle? If you are vaccinated against COVID-19, you can enter to win amazing prizes like food store gift certificates, hotel stays, beach excursions, and so much more. Even if you are previously vaccinated, you can still enter to win. The COVID vaccine is free, safe, and protects you from severe COVID-19 infections. Don't delay. Get vaccinated today and enter to win. Visit www.vaxbahamas.com to register.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I have joining me, of course, the one and only Minister of Transport and Housing, Jo Beth Colby Davis. Minister Davis, thank you once again for joining us on the show. All right, Minister, let's talk about it. On Wednesday. Sometimes I try to figure if I'm saying anything in English, right? On Wednesday, at the first press briefing of this new administration, we had your statement you shared. And actually on Monday, it was in the news, I think Monday, where you had stated that there was some concerns with the Prospect Ridge development, and that perhaps the pricing that was shared then at $50,000 was not realistic, considering that there was still information that needed to be doled out. Concerns with regard to the topography of the land, that there might be some issues with infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera. Then on Wednesday, you went into further details, saying that there was no master plan, that no feasibility studies were done, there was no topographical study of the land, that you did not understand where the abstract number of 50,000 even came from, and that the photo on the billboard, you don't even know where that may have come from.
Well, I think I know now.
Oh, gee, okay. Because Google was the assumption.
Yeah.
But I want you to, if you can.
It came from moving.com.
It came from where?
Moving.com. I'll send you the link.
What? Minister, did you guys do a Google? I bet you did an image search.
I did not do it, but someone found the link.
It's an image search. Once you put in that image, you can get the search and you can find it. But that's pretty smart. Yeah. Moving.com. I will look forward to that link as well. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to that, please. And I thought you were very clear on what your statements were at the press briefing, but I wanted to get from you again, just so I understand exactly what was said. As it stands today, even after that press conference, even after the rebuttal, and I'll go to that statement also by the senator, you still stand on there is no data. There was nothing left behind for that development.
Let me just start off by saying, it's I don't want it to come off that this is a cat fight with me and Senator Viana. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly.
Yes.
I don't want it to come off as that. I am sitting in a seat where it is my responsibility to be able to provide information. What's very important for me is because I understand how important it is to become a homeowner. When me and my husband did it years ago, it was very stressful. It was a headache,
It's hard.
And we had to do it on our own, and you don't have that guidance really by some persons. And so being in this position where I am now the Minister of Housing, I understand what a lot of the younger professionals, whether they're considered younger professionals, and you have some older persons that have put in applications that are waiting for years to get it out there. So for me, coming into this role has been, how do I fix this? And the first two top things on my list was go to Carmichael Village and figure out what's going on there, and look at this Prospect Ridge and see if this is even a possibility. As I looked into it and brought my technical team together, and I will say that everything was at the Office of Prime Minister. So for the last couple of months, we had two ministry or departments of housing.
Oh, wow.
Nothing on Prospect Ridge was being managed by the then Minister of Housing. Absolutely nothing. I don't think he even knew what was going on with the project.
Wow.
Nothing was under his management.
Wow.
So I would say
Prospect
that when I came
Ridge.
in, Prospect Ridge, I had to request the file from OPM. In fact, when I spoke at the press conference, and I said that the company that was awarded the job to do the master plan, that got the letter and approached me after I became the minister to let me know what they were faced with on the, I think it was the 7th of September, and elections was the 16th. So they got this letter to carry out the work. That's how I knew for a fact there was no master plan, nothing done, because they came to me. And when they came to me, the letter was sent to them from OPM. So the Minister of Housing, who was sitting in the seat before me, had no oversight, nothing. And I think that just goes to show you the type of system we were living under.
Yeah.
I mean, this is dictator.
No process.
Finest. You have Carmichael at Department of Housing, but you have Prospect Ridge. Or was this really so fake that you couldn't risk it getting into the hands of the real technical people at housing that do this day in and day out? Remember when I started, I said, I came into this letting them know I am just manager for the portfolio of the Davis administration. They know the stuff. So I lean on their expertise and their knowledge. And they sat with me and they went through a list of things that needed to be done in order for us to get to the point where we can actually tell applicants, you're approved. Does Prospect Ridge have subdivision approval? No.
Wow. Wow. Okay,
How
so
are you
hold on.
offering a subdivision without that approval? Second thing, are we sure all of that property belongs to the Department of Housing? No. First of all, the majority of it is a government property, but there are protocols, like I told you from day one, for the Department of Housing to offer that as a subdivision. First of all, the Department of Housing have to own the property. I have emails from two families that are saying, I'm not quite sure where you're putting this Prospect Ridge, but a portion of that property is conveyed to our family.
Wow.
So you have to do a search, a title search. First of all, you have to determine what all of that property is in the government's possession. And then the Department of Housing have to go and acquire that for us to do a subdivision on that property. You see what I'm saying? So offering the application, how did we arrive to telling people apply? How did we arrive to 50,000, 40,000? Yes, you may have hopes and dreams of what you would consider a fair market price for applicants to be able to buy in and get this property. But how do you get to that point where you can actually say for certain, I mean, unless you're going to take on an insurmountable amount of money as the government's responsibility, because yet still we have yet to do any infrastructural work. So, and I have some more information that's coming to me that I am probably going to leave for my speech in the House, since I heard that the former Prime Minister wants to speak to this in the House. So I'll leave some things for my speech in the House. But I gave you a mouthful just now of where it's just the reality, you know? This is not a game. This is not a game. These are 1,500 young persons that want to be homeowners, that expects when the government offer them something, it's a true indication of what the government is in a position to offer, right? And so how do we have it now that you're putting prices out there, you're putting a fixed date, you saying how many lots, you saying whatever, this, that, and whatever the case may be, but you haven't done the groundwork. So it wasn't an insult to say I want to get into back and forth with the senator, because I understand this is her portfolio in the opposition as a shadow minister. I'm not into the back and forth. What I'm into is people just need the answers. People just need the answers, and I don't want people to think and get discouraged. What I'm here to do now, like I told you before, say what has happened and then find a solution. So I've mandated for my technical team to get to work to figure out if at all Prospect Ridge is a possibility. And if it is, I am going to do it right. So when I come to the public and say, this is the amount that it will cost you, that will be the amount that it will cost you. So I'm not here to make no government look bad. That ain't my thing. They already lose, So the people then vote in who they wanted, and now they need answers and they need solutions, because you have people who want to be homeowners, not just young professionals,
That's right.
older people.
That's
so
right.
You have Bahamians in general that want to be homeowners. So that's what I'm taking this job serious and getting answers. And as it comes out, it's not coming out as a whole. If it came out as one whole, it would be easy to say, Nahaja, I can just write you a report and send it to you for you to put out to your public. But it's coming in drip by drip by drip, because like I said, everything was at the office of the Prime Minister.
Wow. Minister JoBeth Colby Davis, that was many bombshells that you landed on us just now in terms of understanding the depth of the misinformation. And then what you're sharing is that, listen, there was a lot of misinformation with regard to, and we would hope, I don't even know how to say unintentional at this point. If what you're alleging is and I believe you, Minister, of course, you would find yourself in a lot of trouble if what you're sharing, and as an attorney, isn't truthful. And I know that there will be documentation soon to follow, and I know you will be sharing a lot of speeches within the House as well. But that, first of all, the biggest thing to me was this was in the office of the Prime Minister,
Yes.
not the Department of Housing, Ministry of Housing. That to me is already very much a red flag. Why is this in an entity that is not suited to determine land or dole out land? It was
or subdivisions. I mean, come on.
So I'm wondering, and you were saying now, Minister Colby Davis, that you're getting this information from within your ministry, the technocrats who actually know how to do this, who've been doing this as a part of their career.
You have people in this ministry who've been here 30 plus years. They work with a number category of ministers of housing. So they're not guessing. They're saying, this is the process. They're teaching me. This is the step by step by step by step of what we do, right? And if we don't do it this way, then there's issues, because you would have conveyance issues with people having a home where the land is, the title isn't properly cleared. And we have that in the private sector. As an attorney, I can tell you have the mountain of cases that go to the courts where people build their home and the land wasn't really theirs because the title wasn't clear. So as a government, that should be your priority,
Yeah.
That should be your priority. Before you offer a subdivision, you make sure that the Department of Housing has the authority to offer this for sale.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is when you have emails coming from families saying, wait a minute, I think a portion, even if not a big portion, but a portion what I think may be drawn into where you plan to put this could possibly be infringing on the property that's conveyed in my name. Then that right there should tell
Is
you,
a pause.
I can't even put out no applications, or I can't even consider them, because now I have to make sure I legally clear this title. So these are things that that's why I said a lot of groundwork. It's not to hurt anyone's feelings, It's just to say, I have to do it right now because I'm sitting in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, my name will be called if I go and say, clear it down, drop some fill, put in, the plumbing and the light and whatever, and let's get on with it, because people breaking down my door to get in their house. And then later on, they don't have clear title and someone come and bum rush their building off of their,
Yeah.
So it'll be me that has to pay. So I have
Wow.
to do it right. And I'm getting information from the technocrats who've been here for years and tell me what they have done with other subdivisions step by step to clear it. And to clear it.
The company that was given the approval for the contract to I guess to develop it or whatnot.
They have the approval to carry out the master plan. So that's the engineers, all of the QS and everything that will make it look like this is at the end of the day what we expect this area off of JFK to look like. So
they got a letter, but did they have a master plan?
No, they have a letter to produce it.
Huh. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, we have to take one more break. I know I said 20 minutes, Minister, but I feel like you're not done yet. I sense that there's more.
I don't know if there's more. I just want to give you one little drop in the bucket.
Well, okay, let's do this before I let you go. Then, And let me just quote something from what the senator said. Right? Let me just quote something from what the senator said. By all accounts, the Prospect Ridge community for young professionals was advanced further and faster than any similar subdivision, having only been conceptualized earlier this year. In April 2021, the former administration appointed the Committee for the Development of Communities for Young Professionals. The committee's first task was to build out both the tenets of the program and a digital transparent application process. The first community to be developed was the Prospect Ridge Community for Young Professionals. For this community, the former government took the legal steps to secure the land for the development and completed the conceptual sketch of the development, the detailed environmental impact assessment of the land, the procurement process for infrastructural and architectural drawings, and the application process, including a review of 1,500 applications by independent accounting firms. I want just in that one there.
Okay.
Your thoughts on that?
Let me just say, I have emails from families that want us to clarify what is this sectioned out part, because based on what has been advertised, it circles around property that is conveyed in our name. So that's the first thing. Where you say you had legal clearance to acquire, it doesn't appear so, because now you have families popping up saying, wait a minute, your circle includes my land. So that should tell you right there, you may own it, but you have to do a proper title search to prove to the family this belonged to us. And the fact that questions remain, and these are forwarded communications that was sent to the prior administration, means that no one bothered to answer and clarify to this family whether what they are pointing out on their conveyance is in that circle or whether it's not. So that part is incorrect. The DEPP has to approve certain environmental parts of any project now for construction. That's when that law came into place. That created the DEPP, that removed the Best Commission, made that a separate entity, and they now have to approve certain reports. I know, because I came from an industry where we had to deal with BEST, and then we had to start dealing with the DPP, so I had to learn what it is that they are mandated to do. So the technical staff did not have to tell me the DPP have to do these certain things, right?
Yes.
The EIA has not been approved yet. It has not. In fact, it was not accepted as what the EIA should have. They were asked for more information. So you can't brag about sending something. You could send anything. We all went to school. Sometimes we send assignments. We know we didn't do it right, but we sent it. You know what I mean? So bragging that you sent something and rushed something and sent it to the DPP doesn't change the fact that it's incorrect or it's incomplete and you have more work to do. And so saying these things, we did this and 1,500 there and that, whatever, doesn't change the fact that as the new minister, in order for me, if I can bring this project to fruition, I have now a lot of groundwork to do. That's the reality. I'm not in a tit for tat. I'm not in a back and forth. I am sitting in the seat now, and the technical people are scratching their head. Now, had we had it in the Department of Housing, we may have gotten proper, step-by-step procedures. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Convening a committee doesn't mean that you're going to get it right. You have people that's been in government, and that's why we have to respect these workers who've been in government for 20, 30 plus years, doing the work, and now you come and create a separate committee and keep it cooped up in the office of the Prime Minister. And so you're creating 2 Department of Housings. That right there is an insult. And now you bring the headache to me talking about I must go and complete work that you already started. No, because now my technical team who've been doing this stuff telling me, no, Minister, you have to start from scratch if you want to make this a reality.
Wow. And that's what you're being told with this project, start from scratch.
This is what you drove on JFK yet? You see the billboard with the Google picture?
Yes.
Go drive there. You can see I have a lot of work to do if I want to bring that to fruition. It ain't no joke, and it ain't to insult anyone. Anyone can drive past that property and see. And then you see the drop. It's high at the top where the water and then it comes down the hill. And so which part of that we going to use and filling that in is going to be the cost. It's not a guessing game. You don't even have to be a technical person to look at that and be like, they got to really do some real filling in.
Some real money got to get spent. And anyone who's built
real
before,
money. I think the committee has more stuff that probably would come out later on as I speak more and more with them and get more and more little drops of information. But that's the reality, and it's something that I'm working hard to bring the final resolution and answers to, because 1,500 persons is a lot of people, and that's a lot of hopes, and that's a lot of can crush. And so it's important for me not to go in back and forth with anybody and press release here and there, but just to get the answers out and tell you what the solution is going to be.
The Minister of Transport and Housing, many people are saying, oh, the minister's a breath of fresh air. Minister JoBeth Colby Davis. I look forward to your contribution. And listen, you every new government, as you've won, you have the majority of people behind you. We are all hoping and praying for the success of the government, because regardless of who you voted for, the success of the government is a success for all of us. Well, we hope, right? And not a success for the few, but for the many. And so we support you on this. I think what you shared is very interesting, and I look forward to your contribution next week. Thank you so much.
It wouldn't be next week because I have to travel.
Oh.
So I think it'll be the following week. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to travel.
Well, of course.
Let me let people know that now, because I don't want them to be upset. And you have plenty of viewers. So viewers, I'm not ducking. I am not ducking. I have to travel. So
that's important.
I'll be traveling.
Well, be safe. Thank you so much. We have to one day when we do come again. Let's talk about public transportation. I think that's a huge topic of conversation.
Oh, yeah, huge.
I think that would be a powerful one. Listen, thank you so much, Minister JoBeth Colby Davis. It's a pleasure to have you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Thank you, Minister.
All right.
You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black. I want to get your thoughts on it. The minister came in and shared, some seriously heavy stuff there as well. We will be back after this. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
Insurance agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protecting since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You're always covered me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
You have a new text message from Scotia.
Scotiabank is adding text messaging to its communication channels to keep customers updated in quicker and safer ways. As of November 4th, Scotiabank will be using text messaging to provide notifications on the minimum payment required for your credit card and due dates. Customers may continue to access their credit card statements on Scotia Online or through our mobile banking app. Learn more by contacting customercare-bahamas@scotiabank.com or call 356-1697.
Baja Sugar, sugar, let's get sugary. Softer, smoother, and amazing skin. No, Baja Sugar, sugar, we're the sugar ladies. Giving you skin soft as a baby's. Goodbye hair, we'll take good care of you.
Come visit us at Baja Retreat Spa on East Bay Street. Contact us at 323-6711 or visit us online at www.bajaretreat.com.
To the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Minister Jo Beth Colby Davis. Wow. Did you hear all of those things that the minister said? Listen, that it was, first of all, that the housing program, and I got my good friend Sia and Yuri, who was in the backstage, that the Prospect Ridge development was not even in the Ministry of Housing, but in the office of the Prime Minister. First thing, that would be eyebrow raising, right? Why would a development not be there? First, and then we didn't have any subdivision protocols or, the mapping. And now we know families were like, but hold on, where you're saying this property is supposed to be, that's on our land. Sounds familiar. This is, I don't even know if to say embarrassing for the former administration. That's not the proper word. What are your thoughts on it, CA?
I don't know what to say. It's for the FNM to explain. And I see the senator try to explain her point of view of it. And now it's in the premise of the Bahamian public to make a decision. It should be interesting the first week of the House of Assembly, yes, when these things are put forward for the public's consumption. Like I said, I do not know what to say. One said that let me make this point. The very idea that is in the office of the Prime Minister suggests that it's a special project and not a usual project coming through the Ministry of Housing. So that's what I found entertaining.
Yeah, I thought that was a big one too. Why would it? See, and that was one of the issues too we had, the process protocol. Why is I know it hurts my head too much to even go there.
You become lost for words. Like, what, you can't defend, you can't say perhaps this went this way, or it just doesn't make any sense.
It just I can't even come up with a good reasoning why that's a good side for them, that makes them look good. Everything about that felt nefarious. Why is it there? Why was it there? It's just very disheartening.
But it would explain the reason why the Prime Minister was pushing it, because it was out of the office of the Prime Minister.
His hands were on too many things, allegedly.
Other than that, you'll see that if the former minister, Rumi Friera, would have brought it to the public and said, well, this is what we're doing in our ministry.
Maybe it was too rich for the housing. Maybe it was too rich for the Ministry of Housing. And it needed to be under the richer auspices of the office of the Prime Minister.
You think that's what it is?
Because Carmichael could go under the Ministry of Housing, right? Carmichael could go under that ministry. But apparently Prospect Ridge can't go under that ministry. I don't know. And apparently Prospect Ridge had no plans. What a time. And I did get the link. It was moving.com. I actually have to get the picture when we go on break because we got to go to news soon. I'm going to share.
Actually, it's a nice house. If you're going to borrow a house, you might as well go to moving.com and get one from there.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, it was a fancy photo, right?
Yeah.
Someone said it was the first of its kind, first of what's kind. The first of its kind development is the first of its kind in the country.
Maybe they're trying to suggest that because the Prime Minister was, in quotes, fixing the price, a set price, making sure the price doesn't go over $50,000. It's a special project.
We did that with Carmichael. I don't know. That one. But I mean, anything's possible. I just don't. listen, you know, one of the challenges we have with the OPM, right, is things go missing.
Yes.
Things go missing there, right? So, and I'm looking forward to, reading this BPL report so we can talk about that.
I'm surprised that file didn't go missing.
I'm surprised too.
It was still in the office of the Prime Minister waiting to be discovered. That is odd.
That was odd. Like, yes. I thought that would have gone missing for sure. But,
yes.
I got it. I was almost certain I never saw that coming at all. I never saw that. But it's there. It's real. I was, I had a few pages to read. It's a very interesting read. As I said.
Some pages?
Yeah.
Look at you.
I got to make it up in the world. I got to make it up one day.
I see that.
Yeah. We can have a talk.
So was the pages any good? I mean, like good reading?
So far.
Yeah.
So far, I have to make sure that what's old news and new news. Now I got to figure out. It's so intertwined. This thing is glossy and thick. You'll see.
It was a detailed report.
Someone says the host needs to know some of these things, and then she will not be swallowing everything the minister said. What exactly do I need to know?
Oh, you got shade there.
No, that's fine. I get shade all the time. It always happens. This is nothing new. I want someone to rebut it. The senator did state what she needed to state, and the minister came out. Now the charge has to be rebut.
Like I said, it's not for you to defend. It
Not
is
me.
for the former administration to defend and to explain. The current minister, put her case forward and said these are the frustrations and the angst she's going through, trying to continue with this project. And it's up to the former administration to say, well, these are things we put in place and left in place, and that they're not sure what you're talking about. And that hasn't happened yet, so we wait.
Oh yeah, listen, I don't feel anyway. This is for the former government to defend themselves. I was politely home. And it's COVID. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I just needed to be.
Plus, you were a champion for this project too.
Man, I still am. Well, I think I need it because I got friends.
You don't associate yourself with this project no more.
No. Well, not this project. Whatever this is, I ain't with this no more. We got to take a break. This project here could ruin your career. You can't have that on my list. We'll be back after this. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
You have to be strong in today's world. Keep your focus and up. What you believe in, how to achieve all your dreams. Keep moving forward. Never accept less than who you are. Live your best life. Be strong and free. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black. It's the Hit Back with Nahaja Black.
And we're back. You're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I hope that everybody's doing well, taking care of yourself, living your best life. Okay, so something I wanted to add. It was a note of clarification as well. I had the present Minister of Housing, Transport and Housing, Jo Beth Colby Davis, on the show. Now, she mentioned digitization and, interlinking governance. This was something that I know for sure coming into the tail end of the former administration, and I got to give credit where it's due. I know that that was one of the big emphasis Marlon Johnson really had. Now, the effectiveness of it, I really like the fact that we could get our driver's license online now, our what does it call it, police record online now. I think the passport office is really good. I really do. I really think that is legitimately well improved. Can I just say, everything seems to be a bit more streamlined, and so we're liking this. So I think that's it. But I have my issues more so with the digitization itself, with policies, law that protects data. And we haven't even had that discussion, data privacy laws. And that's what I think any government, before you can talk about networking, we have to have data privacy laws. We have to have the right to say you can't send my NIBA information to a third party without my consent. You have to tell me that wherever my information is stored in a cloud somewhere out in country, that is safe. What happens if there is an issue where that server is interfered with? What happens if we have an AWS failing and or Apple and their systems failing? What happens within these structures? We don't have data protection. And so as we talk about digitization, we still having the registrar's office being attacked. Well, I don't count ZNS as a real place right now in terms of technology, but we have a lot of ways to go. So I will say this, that it isn't a new effort when it comes to digitization, that it has been something. And I really got to champion Marlon Johnson, former acting financial secretary. I know that was one of his strong passions. And I think that we saw parts of that really come out. And that was that shift for digitization. I'm still concerned with the safety of our data. Seriously, banks don't have to tell you or warn you or let you know if there's been a breach. We have to find out. They don't have to tell you this. But they definitely will tell you they ain't giving you any more 20s though. Okay. So we got my good friend C.A. Nuri joining me. And then we'll have joining us a little bit later in the show, probably around the 5:20 mark. We're going to switch gears to COVID and have that discussion. But I want to welcome back my good friend C.A. Nuri. C.A., all right, buddy. So we have, and I'm going to bring on, actually, we're going to change gears pretty soon. But that's something there I wanted to make sure. Someone says passports needs some serious work. Really? You still think passport office needs work? Do you think I thought the passport office was pretty good. I think that they're doing a good job. What do you think, C? I thought they were doing a good job.
I like the email system. You just put everything forward and just go and collect. So it's kind of, well, it's kind of better. It's definitely better.
Yeah, it's better. It's good. It's good, right? We have a call on the line. Let's take this caller really quickly. Caller, you're on the Hit Back. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, Nahaja.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Great. I'm to your guest, Mr. C.A. Yeah, Nahaja, I've been saying, from doing the campaign trail, I've been getting a lot of that information that the minister has just divulged to you. That's why I've been saying from on the campaign trailer that was an election ploy by a former prime minister, because, it is crazy that, all of this information would have been coming out about that property and everything. And, for the prime minister to have people who was challenging him on that property, so I wouldn't call the names of persons who I was heard is owning portions of that property, for him to be selling that to the Bahamian people as a, professional business person community. It is crazy because, I've even heard of the name of persons who pushing down churches off of their property, owns portion of that property. So I don't know how the prime minister think that he can come and sell that to the Bahamian people, and make Bahamian people buy into that. For me, I call him the Bahamian Pied Piper. The former prime minister, the leader of the opposition, is a Bahamian Pied Piper. He thought that he would win this election based on what he told people or what he put in people's hearing, but he doesn't understand the Bahamian people. Bahamian people are some of the most intelligent people on the planet, and they will make you think you're going somewhere, okay? Until they take your shoes off your feet and leave you in the desert. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, listen, we have, so I got a statement here, and actually it's a breaking statement here. I want to read this. Statement by the leader of the Free National Movement, the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis. At the end of November, the Free National Movement will hold a one-day convention to elect the leader of the party. I will not nominate for the leadership, nor will I allow my name to be placed in nomination. I wish those who will contest for the leadership the very best. I will continue to serve in the House of Assembly as the Member of Parliament for Killarney. I again thank the constituents of Kalani for their support since 2007 and during the recent general election. As a former prime minister, and in whatever role is assigned to me, I will support the work of the official opposition to advocate on behalf of the Bahamian people and to hold the government accountable. We remain in a deadly global pandemic. I will continue to promote measures to save and to protect the lives and livelihoods of Bahamians, utilizing my experience in office and as a medical doctor. I will never tire in advocating for the needs of the poor, the disadvantaged, and the more vulnerable in our society. It has been an extraordinary privilege to serve our country as Prime Minister and as a Member of Parliament. I thank the Bahamian people and the members of the Free National Movement for their support and encouragement. I also thank the many well-wishers for their advice, prayers, and assistance. The Free National Movement has an extraordinary legacy, guided by the values of freedom, equality, and opportunity for all. At our 50th anniversary, there is much to celebrate as we renew our mission and embrace the future. I have often spoken of the God of new beginnings. May God bless the FNM with wisdom, discernment, and fortitude, and may God bless our Bahamas. CA, the former prime minister has decided not to put his name in the ring. He's stepping away. He's stepping away and aside, and I think that's a good move. I think that's good for the party. I think that's good for the Free National Movement to move forward. What are your thoughts?
And I echo your sentiments. Clearly, there's some disjointedness in the FNM party where there are a number of disgruntled people who are not happy with the leader of the FNM, right? And they wanted a new direction. They do not like his style of operation, and they, in fact, blame him for the loss, right? So they want to start over. And sometimes starting over may be the only option that you do have. And they want to start over with a new team. What I find amusing is that they are prepared to have a one-day convention to elect one person, but leave the entire team, the remainder team in place, and say, well, we'll wait till February to deal with those people, right? I found that entertaining. I was saying that why not just do a clean slate one time and have an entirely new direction? And it tells a tale about the leadership in terms that they believe that the leader directs the entire party, and that the leader is apparently separate and apart from the team, and that whoever the leader directs the rest of the team. You know when they say the tail wags the dog, or a dog wags the tail. It seems that I believe they should have just changed the entire slate one time. Go in with a team with the entire FNM party is comfortable with. It'll be entertaining to see if whoever they elect in November, when the convention happens in February, whether the FNM caucus will still be happy with that person, or there'll be someone else to challenge him then again.
Yeah. Listen, I think, the Progressive Liberal Party had to do the same. Well, Perry Christie didn't even win his seat, right? The former prime minister, Perry Christie. He didn't win his seat, but they had to move away, right? And they knew going into that election that he was a stumbling block for their re-election, right? The former prime minister, Dr. Minnis, was the stumbling block. And I think that, the strategy is to win again. I don't know any opposition party wishes not to be in government, right? So your aim is always to win again. And so that's the process. I want to thank the Prime Minister for his service. He served the country to the best that he knew how. And someone say it was not the best at all. We will see how history ranks the former Prime Minister. But I think that this was wise to do. And let him serve his term in Kalani. And Kalani is a red constituency. He'll win again, Kalani, if he runs again next election. And what happens in 10 years will be a different story. Maybe the Free National Movement in 10 years has forgotten, and we the people have forgotten, and perhaps the pre-LP was so atrocious, we will forget and want Dr. Minnis again. These things happen, but I think right now that ship has sailed, and I think it was wise of him, and I actually appreciate and respect him for that decision.
And Nahaja, I know you recently compared the FNM and the PLP to the FNM and said that the PLP went through the same thing. But the PLP situation is much different than what the FNM is going through. when the former Prime Minister Perry Christie lost his seat, the PLP had Brave Davis to assume the position.
That's
and
true.
in fact, they allowed him to assume the position, said,
That's
you're
true.
acting leader and tell the convention because we know that you're most senior and that you were capable of leading the party and that you had ambition to lead the party. And people thought that he was next anyway, right? And then there were the theatrics of someone challenging him. And you see Sayers and there were a number of persons said, why challenge when you know?
Yeah, Glennis Hannah Martin, I think, challenged.
But that's before then. I don't think Glennis, she got a challenge before then when she got a whooping and didn't win at all. But anyway, in contrast to the FNM has no second in command, right? They have junior members as elected officials, right? Michael Pintard is still junior. Shandon Cartwright is still junior. Iram Lewis is still junior. The most junior of all will be Adrian White, the most junior, right? But all these persons who have seats are junior members of parliament. They serve one term. Listen, they only had one go at this. So one would believe, can they solidify all of the factions? All of the factions within the FNM party and say, yes, we will support you and we will build around you. I'm not sure if these men have the gravitas amongst them to do it. Now, mind you, they have ambition. And I believe that a number of them are capable, right? You see Shannon Don Cartwright have done wonders in his constituency where he has a following. But does that following translate to joining all of the factions? Can someone from Grand Bahama, a Michael Pintard, all the way from on the northern city, where we now have the majority, can you convince us that we can allow you to lead the New Providence? How is that possible?
Yeah. Well, and I just was about to say, we have, you say junior, and I'm trying to figure out the definition what you're trying to say, right?
They're all this is to be their first or their second term now.
This is second term. So technically they're not.
No. They only had 5 years. They have not even had 5 years amongst them yet.
They had a term. They've had a term.
One term. They're all
and going into their second. So
whereas someone like a Brave Davis had 3. Someone like a Gladys Martin had 3. Someone like a Fred Mitchell had 3 before he lost, right? They had bench to work with. To say, well, I understand what to do in the Honorable House. I understand political intrigue. To say, okay, I know what to do when these people are plotting against me, right? What happens when there are parts of the FNM say, no, I'm not supporting you? How will they able to say, okay, let me sit you all down and negotiate? They have that. I'm not sure if they have that experience within the party to be able to do that.
Yeah, but I think I look at it, right, and I say, well, hey, Michael Pintard is known outside of politics. So he came in with his own name recognition. Iram Lewis was known in a small community within sports. And I think that, listen, honestly, I don't think. Let me just stay out of it, because I really, right now, my energy level is that's their business. Let the Free National Movement as a community figure out themselves and use this time to have a come to Jesus moment. What is the party, the Free National Movement? What do you stand for? Who do you serve? So that what happened doesn't happen again. And I think that's the way to go. You hope that if you're the Free National Movement, that you don't even have to work that hard. Like the PLP didn't have to work that hard against you, really. That you hope that they buck their toe and you can just pounce on it. But right now, I really don't. My energy, I can't. I'm still waiting on the economic plan from this group. So I just, whatever we talking right now, that's their personal in-house business. And in reality, I'm still trying to figure out if we going in the right direction economically right now. That's just all that matters. And COVID,
I just want my 10% VAT decrease. So I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
I still don't know if that, the 2%. I'm definitely,
You sound like you're concerned. Sound like you're a little concerned.
Hey, they said they're going to do it, I can't beat it. That ain't my promise. That's their promise.
I need that deduction.
How am I going to have
hoping they
concern?
go down to 7.5, but I mean, if
I would like to go back to 7.5.
You know,
but my whole thing is that I try to figure out if will the 2% actually even what is the strategy of the 2%? Like that's some of the questions that I have.
But I can say this, Nahaja, if they could do 10, they could do 7.5. Drop it to 7.5 one time. That's how I look at it.
I would like to go back to 7.5. Honestly, I really would. I would actually like to go back to 0, but I'll go with 7.5 because I've been tormented with 12. Right? But I'm waiting. I'm telling you, what I'm waiting for. I need to hear this economic ministry, right? The economics and economic affairs ministry. I want to hear the investment ministry, and really figure out that investment in tourism. Really figure out where the trajectory goes for us with the strategy for economic growth in country. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't
sound like you're patient, by the way. You don't sound like you're patient. They told us to be patient, and it will come.
There are a lot of patients in PMH, but I just right now how long has it been? Not that long, right?
5 weeks.
Not that long. 5 weeks. And so we have the House of Assembly, the first House sitting. So I'm looking forward to May 27th. That's next week, Wednesday. I'm looking forward to hear what those speeches are. And not just speeches, but what are the intentions and plans? Because those are big. For me, all of this is big,
But you still got to give it an extra 2 weeks because the first 2 weeks about stoking. So we got to be stoking a lot of the after them. We got to be poking at them. We got to be just some bombshells. And everyone who presents, all the ministers, got to be at least have 2 bombshells in their presentation.
Well, I think they're coming, right? I think they're coming.
Yeah, man.
Oh, they got to come. There's no government that doesn't come without theirs, right? You have to come with it.
I maybe even a call or a cry for a commission of inquiry.
More taxpayer dollars.
I just want to get a job.
What are those things, man?
I want to get a job. So we all got to eat. If a commission of inquiry comes along, I can get something. I'm sure I can get something.
What do you get from a commission of inquiry?
I don't know yet, but I can see you got to speak life. I speak in hope, and if it comes, I can ask to see if I can get something. I can testify.
Huh? So silly.
No.
I don't think that's how it works.
You just don't think that's how it works. That's what it is. You just don't want me to get anything.
Let me ask you this before we go to break. What are your expectations? Because we had the minister, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Hit Back with Nahaja Black Guardian Radio. And someone said, Nahaja, I see some breaking news. So I'm curious, your thoughts. Jo Beth Colby Davis, Minister of Environment and Transport, shared pretty much some bombshell information, right? Alleging that, hey, listen, this document of this Prospect Ridge was not even in the Ministry of Housing. It was under the auspices of the Office of the Prime Minister. Spoke about all kinds of other things that went awry, right? And says that she has some bombshells of her own to share in the House of Assembly. And that we also know that the Prime Minister himself says he's going to speak on this project. Former Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis will speak on this project. Because what is being alleged is that this whole thing was, in essence, a kind of a hoax in a way, right? Kind of a hoax, that this never really existed in the way, in the manner that they said it existed. And that would definitely be eye-raising. And she's gone on record multiple times to say such, very confidently. So this is fascinating stuff to me. But I want to ask you this, C.A. Nuri. What are you anticipating, or what are you hoping to hear on Wednesday from the minister? Got to be the Minister of Health has to speak. The Minister of Finance, the Prime Minister has to speak. And not speak, come with plans, like real actionable stuff.
Nahaja, and sincerely, when I try to talk serious, I try to slow down my speech as much as I can. Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful for the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Investment, and I think some new ideas will come forward. However, with the Minister of Health, I am kind of concerned about the trajectory of where he is going. I am not happy so far. I am not happy. I remember before they named the list of ministers, I said that there's a need to name the Minister of Health first because we are in a crisis. I expected them to come with a plan. They said they had a plan beforehand, and that the plan was completely contrary to what this former administration had. And 6 weeks out in right now, what's happening ain't good. It is not good. And I don't believe enough people, the media and person out there, are calling the Minister of Health out. We need to be concerned. Behemoths are dying every day. And his reaction, his response is inadequate at this present time. And we need to call a spade and tell him he is not doing a good job. You need to come correct come Wednesday or don't come at all. I believe if there's going to be a shuffle in immediate time, see, I'm talking shuffle already, that he needs to go.
He's talking shuffle.
Needs to go.
Well, how is it 6 weeks in? He needs to go?
He's still talking political talks. He's on the campaign trail, dropping nuggets and dropping a shade when we talk about Bahamian lives and trying to save the majority.
I don't think he's that bad, man.
It's horrendous, Nahaja. It's so bad, it's make you teary-eyed. It's bad. And people need to remind him and let him know that what you're doing now, you need to change that course and do better because it doesn't look good.
My God, I mean, you hold on. He can't. You're making him sound as if he's worse than previous.
Worse than previous. Or as bad.
Wow.
Or as bad.
Oh man.
It don't look good. It just don't look good. And see, one thing we have found out about ministers of health, and I call in three. I'm calling James Vance. I'm calling
Renwood
Wells. Now I'm calling Michael Darwell. They like talk a lot. They like talk. They like being in front of the camera, right? But when the Minister Darwell or even Mr. Wells speak, you start questions and man, you ain't helped me just now. I still ask some questions and I need more. It just isn't good. It just isn't good.
I have so many things I could add to that, but wait, hold on. Let's get to some of these texts before we go to break. Hi, CA is correct. If you leave Minnis's team in place, it means he's still running the show. Being popular doesn't mean you're a good leader. Nahaja, I find it very interesting that Minnis came with that statement only after Papa spoke today. Yeah. Nahaja, the FNM will not run Minnis in Kalani next time. Trust me. I wonder why you guys said that. If people forget their disdain for Brave, they will soon forget this time with Minnis. I think that we do forget.
We do forget.
We forget.
And I remember in 2007.
If someone make you more mad, then you go back. We're torn between.
And Nahaja remembered in 2002, we thought that Christie was the worst thing ever, right? But we know how it goes. He came back in 2007.
Yeah. Boy, listen here. You onto something. We do forget. We'll be back. Someone, before we go, says the former PM will not run for leader now, but in 4 years, he will then go for nomination. That's what I said. I think that he'll do that. I think you bide your time. And someone, they said another text, please remind Cecil that Peter Turnquist is still the deputy leader of the Free National Movement. And forget the half. Let's get back to 7%. I'm right up with that. This is 2% off. I don't know what that is, man. That's still 10%. Let's go back. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be back right after this.
In grade 4 through 12. You think you know about money? Well, the Central Bank of the Bahamas is giving you a chance to prove it and win cash in the 2021 Get Money Smart Bahamas Video Essay Competition. Can you tell us why you think the Bahamian economy is an ideal model for digital financial services? If you can, just produce a short video submission before October 22nd and show us you are money smart. Cash prizes will be given in various age categories, but you must get your parents' permission to enter. For more information, visit www.getmoneysmartbahamas.com or see our post on social media.
Calling all HR professionals. It's Human Resources Professionals Week. Join us for the 41st Annual B. Sherm Conference and Expo, Friday, October 29th, 2021. Hear from our 18 industry-leading speakers, enjoy lunch powered by Craven, visit exhibitors in our virtual expo, and so much more. To learn more, email us at conferencebsherm bsherm@gmail.com. We'll see you at BSherm Conference 2021.
You have a new text message from Scotia.
Scotiabank is adding text messaging to its communication channels to keep customers updated in quicker and safer ways. As of November 4th, Scotiabank will be using text messaging to provide notifications on the minimum payment required for your credit card and due dates. Customers may continue to access their credit card statements on Scotia Online or through our mobile banking app. Learn more by contacting customer care-bahamas at scotiabank.com or call 356-1697.
To the Hit Back with Nahaja Black, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My good friend C.A. and Yuri joining me. We also have joining us, we've spoken about him on previous occasions, the one and only Alexander Hanna, and I want to welcome him to the show. Alex, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Nahaja. I'm doing fine, thanks. C.A., how you doing?
All right. Well, see, you have to unmute yourself, and you're part of the conversation.
I'm just excited to see Alexander Hanna, so that I just do the thumbs up. I mean, you know when you're excited to see somebody? So
wow. You're too kind, man.
I'll go quiet and let him speak. You're
too kind.
Well, first of all, I want to introduce you to my audience, Alexander Hanna. Of course, you know, we've had a lot of the data that we share, all of the data now, recent months, because I was given your information, your contact through the former health minister. Yeah, and because he was sharing your data, the way you brought data to the fold, he was sharing that information with me. And I was always, so impressed with, how you organize this COVID data, which has been so important. And, just even having the conversation on it. And I want to make sure I have some to show to the audience and really to express what you've been doing. But Alex, I want to ask you, when did you decide that you were going to collect this type of data and really make it far more informative, intuitive? We can get better analysis from it. As a private citizen, what made you decide to do it this way?
Well, hello to your audience as well, Nahaja. Well, I'm in IT, and one of my specialties is working with data. That's what I do. I love it. I was getting the Ministry of Health reports, and what I noticed is that it didn't provide some certain information that you would want to know. Like, for example, it didn't have a count of how many cases on any given month. And I was complaining about it, and my daughter said, "Daddy, why you keep complaining? Why don't you just create one?" I said, "Oh, that's an idea." So I created it. I started working on this over a year ago. And I tried to about a year ago, I tried to get the government to use it, but I got nowhere with that. So I continued to just do it. I've been publishing it every day for a year. For a whole year, I've been publishing it. So it's the type of data that I want to see, right? It's the type of data that I want to see. And over time, what happens is people would ask me certain questions about it, and then I would add stuff. You would text me, Alex, can we see this? Can we see that? So I've been adding to it as I go along.
Yeah, and I want to tell you, I appreciate this so much because, of course, for us who are, trying our best to understand what's going on, to hold folks to account, this sort of information is very helpful to even have us understand how this virus is behaving in terms of just, we get the raw data. We know how many people in New Providence have been positive, and we look at our positivity rate, which has gone down. And can I just say, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but our numbers we're trending in the right direction. And I'm waiting on the Ministry of Health to have a presser to tell us how come, we are 30% vaccinated. Are we going to attribute it to vaccines? 30% isn't a fully vaccinated or herd immunity country. Have enough of us had it to the point where we have natural immunity? Is that what we're seeing? Go ahead.
I don't know what you're saying, but what I can tell you is this. I know every time I see a low number, someone texts me, "Oh, Alex, the numbers are down low, it's low." I say, "Hold on now, wait a second. Just because you see one day with a low number doesn't mean it's low." But what I can say for this particular month of October, has been low, And today, for example, yesterday's number of 7% positivity rate has been the lowest for the month. Okay.
Yeah.
But then you have to also take into consideration some other things, right? So, for example, at the beginning of the month, we were averaging about 440 tests per day. Okay. Now, as of yesterday, that's dropped to about 340. So it's dropped 100 in terms of the number of tests happening on every given day. So you have to take all of these numbers into consideration together, right? I think that's very important. But for October, for example, as well, the highest number of new cases we had on any given day for October has been 67. And the last time we had over 100 was 130 on the 29th of September. So we're doing good in terms of getting the numbers down. That's very good. That's very good. Yeah. I'm hoping that people don't feel that because of that, they can still go ahead and do what they want to do. I think we still have to pay attention to it because right now, I think we're at 981 cases for the month.
Yep.
Right. And that's one of the things the report does. It's able to show you that. So if you use it like that, and I know at one point I had this thing speaking with someone, once a month is finished, he's trying to figure out, well, I wonder how many cases we can get this next month. And we had these guests, someone would say, oh, it's 800, and then all of a sudden it was 1,000 cases. So I created this field on the report several months ago that gives us a projection. All right. So it talks about the projection, but that projection is based solely on the number of cases, the average number of cases we have on any given day. So right now, even though we have 981 cases, we're projected to have 1,408 cases for the month. And that projection for the last several months has not been too far off.
Do you feel as if the numbers for Inagua and the Family Islands, that their numbers are represented in this at present? Do you feel as if we're current with our Family Island numbers? I don't seen as a trend.
Yeah, I don't think so. And one of the concerns I have, and I know that I watch all of the Ministry of Health, all of their press conferences they have, and I know reporters have asked them the question about the rapid antigen tests. And to date, as far as I know, we do not include rapid antigen tests in the numbers, right? So to me, I believe that's a hidden factor that we cannot see. If people go and get tested, the most likely test they will do is a rapid antigen test. And what that means is if they test positive, they're going to say, well, why is there a need for me to go do a PCR test?
And if everybody else in the house is sick, then we know what the reality is there. If you're just tuning in, Alexander J. Hanna, CNURE, joining me as my co-host today. Alexander J. Hanna, if you haven't seen, he's provided some of the best, the only really comprehensive COVID-19 dashboard in country. I want to ask you, Alex, have you been approached by anyone to formally produce this in country over the past year and a half? Because I think what you've been doing is an awesome service, but I know you're doing it on your own dime and time. Has that ever been a conversation?
No, I mean, I've not had that. No one has approached me about it. Like I said, I tried under the previous government. So I was giving this government a chance to get their feet wet and to really try and approach the Ministry of Health this time around to see if they're interested in the report. I know for sure that a lot of people use the report, and it's been interesting how this has worked out because I know it's all over the world. I get calls from people all over the world. I'll get a call from someone I know. They'll say, "Oh, Alex, I just realized I've been getting this report every day for the last 6 months. I just realized it was your report." So, for example, my name is in the front of the report only for one reason, not because I'm vain. I put it in the front there because I had it in the second line, and people didn't know it was me doing it. And even though it's in the front of the report, people still don't know that I'm the one that's doing it, right? So I get called all the time. People would call me thanking me for the report, that they use it. Like you said, one of those persons was Dr. Sands. I know when I got a hold of Dr. Sands, he was not the Minister of Health anymore. Mm-hmm. So, he was not the Minister of Health. I know he uses it. And I know at one point in time, he referenced my report in the House of Assembly. So that was good. But, it's a lot of work. And like I said, I've been doing it every day, every single day. So I have to wait. The way it works for me is I have to actually wait until the Ministry of Health releases the data. Once they release the data, I will put the data in my database, and then my report will generate the data to have a report that I would actually send out.
Oh, and someone asked about Rumkey. Said, what about Rumkey? Did the former government sell it and you forget to tell us? Why aren't we on the report?
Well, it's interesting because Rumkey, there was a time when they put wasn't Rumkey? No, it was Ragged Island. They had Ragged Island as one, but they took that off. They had the wrong place. Apparently, Rumkey seemed to be grouped with Long Island. If you look at the vaccination rates, right, the numbers for vaccination when they release it, you will see all of the islands, but you will see Long Island and Rumkey as one. So they don't have it separate in terms of what it is. If there comes a day where they said, well, Rumkey has 5 cases, then Rumkey will appear on the report. All right, it will appear on the report automatically once that happens.
And sure. I wanted to add something today too. We had 12 more deaths added. 11 of those deaths reported in October.
Yes.
And I stand with CA on this very point. We need more urgency in resolving this. Yes, the numbers are going down. The numbers are trending in the right direction.
Yes.
But that's 11 more people added to a total. We're now at 642 deaths, right? And I think we have the fatality rate of 2.9%, 163 per persons per 100,000.
Which is very high. Which is very high, by the way.
Yeah, no, which is very high. And that is the deaths that were counted in hospital, not those.
I watched a press conference with the CMO for Canada's New Brunswick, yesterday, and they just had 100 deaths, and it was a big deal for them. I mean, a big deal for them. I mean, they were talking about things they need to do, and we had 642. All right, so just give you a comparison of what that is. But I think what's also important, Nahaja, is that, and again, as I see the data, I'm able to add different charts or different numbers to the report to reflect what I think is happening. So even though they reported 12 deaths for yesterday's report, right? One of those deaths happened to be from September of this year. Okay, but if you take a look at the report when it talks about the death, I broke it down into the reported date of the death, that the Ministry of Health reported it, but also the date that it occurred. Because I believe if they take a look at this number and you look at when it occurred, as opposed to when it was reported, it should be able to tell you something. So for October, even though the report is reporting 105 deaths for October, only 37 of those deaths actually occurred in October, right?
And I love that you did that. That was one of my, let me see where it is.
It's going to the second page, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, deaths reported by age in October, and then the deaths that actually happened in October, right?
Right. So everyone's talking about. So, for example, everyone's talking about when the spike happened, when these deaths happened, and I could hear this, a lot of stuff going on about when it started. But if you look at September actually reported 129 deaths, but it actually had 143 deaths that occurred in September. And in September, for example, on September 2nd and on September 11th, we had 10 deaths on each of those days. So you have to ask yourself the question, well, what happened on those days that made 10 people die? I think it's some information that they could determine and to help them to see what's going on.
And, and also another question that I have on data that I'd like to see is what is our level of recovery or fatality rate of persons when they are admitted to hospital, when they get to the hospital? What is the recovery rate there? So, for example, are we getting people coming to the hospital with COVID closer to the end stage? What's the percentage of persons who go in and come back out? I think those numbers you don't have because we don't.
I don't have those. Yeah, right.
We don't have that information.
No, there's a lot of other numbers we can produce reporting on to assist, but I don't have the information. So, for example, I'll give you a good example. There was a time when they were doing the report when they did not list the age and the island of the person or the day that they died, right? They didn't listen. They just had a number. 4 people died, 6 people died. At some point, they started doing that, right? So I don't have all that details. I would love to be able to show from day one, from the first person died, a chart that shows us the whole thing all the way through. But so right now, I'm only doing it on a month-by-month basis, all right? It would be also helpful to see the age category that people are dying in. That's important. So a friend of mine said the other day to me, being a 50 to 59 age group bracket, a lot of people die in that group.
Yep.
A lot of people dying. So between 50 and 59 and 60 and 69, they have the most deaths. So you have to wonder why they have the most deaths. Is it because of comorbidities? What's going on in there? They're getting to the hospital too late. That sort of stuff is important, I think.
Yeah. Quick question for you. I have to go to another. Before I go, I have to switch to someone else that I want to chat with before the show ends. Question for you. Do you have persons who've died with COVID versus persons who've died of COVID? Call them, because now that's a new categorization.
well, I think if you go back to the first page under the COVID numbers, there is something there, but that's just strictly from the Ministry of Health. And what that actually is showing us is they're talking about the deaths, right? So if you look at the deaths, they say that 642 people died with COVID, and then they have non-COVID deaths, right? 128. And what that seemed to mean is that they actually had COVID, but the cause of death at the end, when they ruled it, was not because of the COVID, right? Yep. They died having COVID, right? And then they have the deaths under investigation at 60, and those 60 could be anywhere in terms of range of date. That could be from last month. So at some point, that number is going to change, and they're going to be added either to the column that says non-COVID deaths or to actual people who died with COVID.
Alexander Hanna, thank you so much. I appreciate you and all the work that you've been doing.
Always.
Someone says, where can I get the report to be viewed?
The best place right now, I should have a website on very soon on it, but the best place right now is to go to my Facebook page, Alexander Hanna. I publish it there every day, and it's public, so it's there every day.
Alexander, ALEXANDER, Hanna. All right. Thank you so much, Alex.
You're welcome. All right. See you, that's the quietest you've ever been, Nahaja.
Quiet. That's when he's interested. All right. Thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate you, buddy. Keep doing great work.
Thanks. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. So I want to switch gears now, CA. So I want, and I of course, I know you have a thought on the work that Alex has been doing, but I want to not switch gears, but this is a very interesting story here as well. I know, of course, you've been keeping up, or I know you've heard in the news, and even on social media, the stories of mothers going into PMH and having poor outcomes. The stories are too strong now. I remember former Minister of Health, Dwayne Sands, when he wasn't no longer, so I'll say Dwayne Sands said that we were experiencing at the point, on average, it would be 4 maternal deaths, right? And we were already up to that for the year, but we were already up to 5. And this was earlier in the year, right? So we were at 5 or 7, I can't remember, but it was a high number. Anyways, we have this wonderful woman, and we'll get to the break. No, we won't do a break. We'll go straight to the end. We have this wonderful woman, Patrice Hannah Carey, and she is an advocate now and really saying, hey, listen, this is enough. We want to, and we have to show solidarity for all of the mothers that go into PMH. And there is I think some form of protest that is going to go on tomorrow. Mrs. Hannah Carey, welcome to the show. I know we're short on time, but tell the folks a bit about what has spurred this on, and what are you guys planning on doing on Saturday?
Good afternoon, all. Nahaja, it's a pleasure for you to publicize and let the public just to be able to bring awareness to what we are actually, this petition is about. We plan to, the reason why we're doing it is to really bring exposure to the recent events. And you had mentioned, Dr. Sands, and the fact that there was only a certain status quo or amount of infant deaths or even mothers that would die. But now the stories have become so frequent and so many. We have to bring this to light. And so it's for the public to notice. It's also to bring awareness to the cause of health care for both mother and child. I mean, it's very important that during that time, as we know that is one of the most crucial times, the most vital times in both a mother and a child's life, the transition from a child in womb to the exterior world, and then, of course, a mother being between life and death at that point. And then also, this protest is based on seeking resolve. We cannot allow this situation to continue to be swept under the rug, to go unnoticed any longer.
So, the past few months, I think COVID-19 has kind of created a space where there were issues before, it has been metastasized now, right? It has grown to an enormous level where there were failures before, but now we're seeing it. I've had mothers on the show who shared their painful stories of loss during COVID-19. And there's a growing concern that, first of all, nobody wants to get COVID and go to the hospital as a pregnant mother. But then with all of the drawbacks of having to see, you don't have your spouse there, that normal network that is there to help you through this period in time. Tell us about the mothers that you are standing up for. Did mothers reach out to you? What was that catalyst, the final straw for you?
Well, to be sincere with you, there were so many mails that I got, so many testimonials. And at the same time, the mothers are asking, please, can you stand up for us? Can you voice our concerns? And then on the other end of that spectrum, they are completely intimidated. They're afraid. We have mothers that have already gone through it, and their point of view is they're traumatized. They are completely burnt. There is not much positive energy, and neither do they have anything positive to say based on their experience. And then there's that new mother that perhaps is going in for the first time, and they are cradling. I mean, they are absolutely shaking. Will this happen to me? They're afraid. And people are blaming it on poverty. They're blaming it on the staff. There's so many things that one's mind can tell itself if you allow it to just think and stray to what is the cause or the root behind it. And so we're working very closely with the mothers as well. One of the things I would like to get across in this petition is doctors, nurses, and midwives, they are there to help and assist pregnant women and women as they go through delivery in general. You mentioned COVID, and within this COVID environment now, I recall having to give birth myself recently during COVID, and I wasn't allowed to receive flowers. I wasn't allowed visitors. I, in fact, went private, but even the private benefits of having someone to come in with me, that was no longer an option. And so women are alone in this at this moment, and they're intimidated, they're afraid. And so that is the reason why I felt the need to, this is a must. And it could not come at a better time. After all, October is the month of pregnancy and infant awareness, infant loss awareness. Oh, and wow. So this is the perfect time to bring it out.
Wow. Just for the record, we have to wrap up now. So tell folks, what do you want? What do you need? What are you hoping to achieve with this?
Well, this is really directed towards the government. It's directed towards the government because these are the individuals that are able to see it from both spectrums. That of the staff that works in a facility, such as the PMH, and then those that are going there for delivery. Okay, the conditions, the staff is the working environment for them maybe? Is their level of fatigue? How many mothers are coming in to be delivered at any particular time? And of course, there is negligence to play a part as well. And then there's the fear. I mean, come on, if we're not really educating mothers, if we're not assisting these young mothers, then what stigma is that really sending throughout the nation? And so tomorrow we're asking all, it does not have to be your story. Do not wait until it reaches your doorstep. There was a petition that was started from 2006 based on what they're saying, like we're not being treated good. There's maltreatment happening in there. Right. And right now it's 15 years into
Tell us
it.
real
And
quick,
so we need to
we're
bring
running out of
resolve.
time. So they can meet you what time tomorrow?
12 p.m. tomorrow, Ruston Square. And we're asking you to bring your chair, bring your towels. Listen, come pregnant, whatever you do, we want you to feel comfortable. Let's let our voices be heard.
Thank you so much. You're listening to The Hit Back with Nahaja, Black Guardian Radio. We'll see you guys Monday. CA, thank you so much, buddy. Patrice, Hannah, Gary, thank you so much.
If you like Frito-Lay chips like Ruffles, Doritos, Cheetos Smart Food Popcorn, and Funyuns, you're gonna love getting a chance to win great instant prizes this Saturday, October 23rd at Extra Value Nassau Village. Join the Frito-Lay Island Wholesale Team between 12 and 3 this Saturday. Make a qualifying purchase of any Frito-Lay's chips or Smart Food Popcorn, and you get a chance to spin and win great instant prizes. And don't forget to put your contact info on your receipt and drop it in the promo box at participating locations for a chance to win bicycles and hoverboards in the grand prize drawing November 27th. Frito-Lay chips, distributed by Island Wholesale.
What happened to you? You look like you lost your paycheck.
Man, I just realized I got scammed out of a bunch of money. They said I won this contest and just needed me to send them some money so I could collect. I mean, to expedite something. Or was it to smooth the process?
Man, you're smarter than that. Protect yourself against scams and fraud by following these steps. If you know you didn't enter a competition, you can't win. Never play to receive a cash prize. If you're being asked, you're being scammed. Check trusted internet sites for verification of information given to you.